at the airport terminals. She added that the authority continues to review its safety systems, which include ensuring that the requisite number of staff have been trained to manage the increase.
The consumption of unhealthy food is the leading cause of early death in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is the view expressed by Professor Alafia Samuels of the University of the West Indies Mona campus. Professor Samuels delivered remarks at the closing ceremony of the Food and Nutrition Project. St. Vincent and the Grenadines' representation at the upcoming Summit of the Americas is unclear, with the Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, stressing that the United States has no right in deciding who or which countries are invited. He says some Caribbean and Latin American heads of government are going to attend the summit in Los Angeles. In news further afield, Canada's government is trying to ban the sale of handguns. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says tougher laws were already in the works, but mass shootings in the United States have spurred more action.
Under the bill, Canadians who already have handguns can keep them, but anyone involved in domestic violence or criminal harassment will lose their firearm license. The size of ammunition magazines will be limited, and there will be increased penalties for gun smuggling.
In sports, an unbeaten century from Shea Hope guided the West Indies to a 7-wicket win over the Netherlands under the Duckworth-Lewis Stern method in the opening one-day international at the VRA on Tuesday. Early rain forced the match to be reduced to 45 per side, and the home team sent into bat posted 240 for 7. Teja Needamanu ended not out on 58, with Vikramjit Singh 47 and Max Odood 39, the major contributors. Akil Hussain took 2 for 29 and Kyle Mears 2 for 50. But when the Windies replied, Hope, the West Indies vice-captain, stepped up to the task, ending unbeaten on 119, inclusive of 12 fours and 2 sixes, as the regional boys finished on 249 for 3 in 43.1 overs. Jamaican Brandon King, who scored a maiden one-day international half-century, was left unbeaten with 58, while Shamar Brooks chipped in with 60. Logan Van Beek took 2 for 49. President of the Jamaica Cricket Association, JCA, Wilford Billy Heaven, has confirmed that he will probably not be seeking re-election at the next voting annual general meeting of the association, which is due by December next year. It is understood that Heaven could be seeking to enter the race for the presidency of Cricket West Indies, which becomes available next year. Mr. Heaven is into his 4th term as a JCA president, having been re-elected unopposed last December. In late January, incumbent CWI President Ricky Skerritt, who is into his 2nd term, told CNC3 in Trinidad that his time at the helm will come to an end after 2023, as he will not be seeking re-election. Former World 100-meter champion Johan Blake and Tokyo Olympic 4x400-meter bronze medalist Candice McLeod had top 3 finishes in the season's best times at 61st Ostrova Golden Spike meet in Ostrova, Czech Republic on Tuesday. Blake clocked 10.05 seconds to finish 2nd in the men's 100-meter, his fastest time this season. Great Britain's Reece Prescott won the race, clocking a personal best of 9.93 seconds. Prescott's compatriot Zarnell Hughes was 3rd, also in 10.05. Meanwhile, Candice McLeod continued her improvement in the 400-meter, finishing 2nd in a season's best time of 50.38 seconds. And that's in the news.
It is time for Yes with Yesse. Please welcome your host, Yesenia Leva.
Good evening, New Season Gospel FM. When Jesus says yes, nobody can say no. I love that. That's like my favorite line of the song. One of my favorite lines of the song anyway. Good evening, New Season Gospel FM. Thank you once again for joining me this evening on another episode of Yes with Yesse. Everyone there on 89.1, wherever you are, good evening to you. Hope you guys had an amazing day. And the evening is just getting started. The day is not over. The day is not over. You still have a chance to accomplish what you have set your heart and your mind to accomplish for today. You have an opportunity to smile, to make a difference. You still have a chance until you go to sleep. So the day is definitely not over. So good evening to you guys. Good evening, YouTube. Nice to have you on there. YouTube is blessed as well because it can take us wherever you go. So good evening to you, YouTube, and of course, everybody there on Facebook. I see you guys coming in. I love watching you guys come in and and seeing who's here and who we're waiting for. I love it. I love it. I love it. As you come in, please go ahead and share Facebook. Good evening, Sister Marcia. Thank you for always tuning in on Yes with Yesse, and of course, Sister Helena. Good evening to you too. Good evening, and I hope you guys had a great day. Please share and invite. Share and invite, because you never know. You never know who can use a word, right? You never know who can use a word, an inspirational word, a message, something. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. So tune in, share, invite a friend. And as you guys know, New Season Gospel FM is all about informing you and inspiring you, and just to make sure that we leave you a little better than you came when you first tune in. So, and with motivation and empowerment, I really pray that we do that. And really, I can speak for myself. There's nowhere I'd rather be right now than here with you guys. So it's very exciting. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you guys and just pour into you a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and get started. It is Thursday, guys. It is Thursday, and so many things happening around the world. So many things happening in our own backyard that we can always, absolutely always use some joy. It is so important to find a little bit of joy in all that we do. And in our day to day, we get so focused on what we're doing, working, and this and that, and what they said and what they didn't do. And let's try to find some joy. Let's make it a point to find some joy in every single day. When we find some joy, things are not so bad, because they really aren't. We could have been in that mass school shooting the other day. God bless those babies. That was truly, truly heartbreaking. As someone that has always worked around kids and youth and teens and young adults, it's truly heartbreaking. I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine, nor do I want to, that happening in close proximity to any of my kids that I have been honored with and had the opportunity, because it is an opportunity to just service them and mentor them. It's truly heartbreaking, and it definitely teaches us that as a society we have to do better. We definitely have to do better as a society. So prayers go out to all those families, and unfortunately the shootings that have come around thereafter, it's like an unfortunate, sad, disgusting trend that happens. So blessings and definitely prayers to all the families out there, and to our community. May we continue to rise up and come together and just do what we can to eliminate all the hate in the world that is totally unnecessary. So I can say a whole lot about that, but we're going to continue to have an awesome show. It's Friday. It's pre-Friday. It's Friday Eve, like I call it, Friday Eve, and pre-weekend, pre-church day, and let's just have fun, shall we? Have fun and just, again, inspire one another to live inclusively in an inclusive community where we are all loved, welcome, and safe. No matter what our disability, no matter our cultural background, we are one community, just a whole bunch of pieces forming that one community that we all love, right? So let's live as we live, as one. Here we go. We're going to get started. A bailar se ha dicho.
fighting for us. God is on our side. He has overcome. Yes, He has overcome. We will not be shaken. We will not be moved. Jesus, you are here, carrying our burdens, covering our shame. He has overcome. Yes, He has overcome. We will not be shaken. We will not be moved. Jesus, you are here. Oh, I will live. I will not die. The resurrection power of Christ alive in me, and I am free in Jesus' name. I will live. I will not die. I will declare and lift you high. Christ revealed, and I am healed in Jesus' name. Come on.
Lucha por nosotros, a nuestro lado está, suya es la victoria, ha vencido ya, no nos detendremos, no nos moverá, Cristo estás aquí, lleva nuestras cargas, nos libra del mal, suya es la victoria, ha vencido ya, no nos detendremos, no nos moverá, Cristo estás aquí, viviré
en el nombre de Cristo. There is power in the name of Jesus, and how awesome and powerful it is to know that. I love that song because when I translate it, it says, I will live, I will not die. Yo viviré, no moriré. I will live, I will not die, and I am healed in Jesus' name. Now, if only we made those declarations to our life every single day, every minute of our life. You know, what we say with our tongue, the power of the tongue is incredible. It's super powerful. And I definitely have come to learn that sometimes the hard way over the years, the power of the tongue. If I would have said, I'm not going to walk, I would have been bedridden for the rest of my life. If I would have said, I'm not going to drive, I wouldn't have driven ever in my life. If I would have listened to those that would tell me, you're not going to, you're not able, you're not going to be successful, you're not going to drive, you're not going to be independent, I surely would not be, because that is the power of the tongue. So please, I beg of you, please understand the power of the tongue. Whatever you declare upon your life shall come to pass. So we just have to be so careful, not only for ourselves, but for those around us, for the people that we are connected to. You know, sometimes we say, oh, I'm so broke. No, I'm not broke. I am financially challenged. I am financially challenged. I'm going to make it, and we're going to be just fine. But we got to definitely put that faith where it belongs, right? Saying the positive things, declaring the work of God and the goodness of God upon our life. I'm going to play this next song for my sister from another mister, because I let her know that I would play it for her. I hope that this is a good one. I love this song. Let's see how it goes. Good Father.
Come on, put your heart on him. Come on. I wanna be like you, He oído miles de historias acerca cómo eres tú, y escucho tu dulce voz en la noche, y en mi soledad tú me dices que te agrado y que nunca me dejarás. Eres buen Padre, si eres tú, eres tú, eres tú, y soy amado por ti, como soy,
confidence is found in you. Confidence is found in you, and we know where our help comes from. How powerful is that? It's to know that your confidence, yes, your confidence comes from God. And when I think about that, and I'm thinking about just listening to that song, one of the things that I've always dealt with is the lack of self-esteem. And I know that all of us at some point in our lives struggle with that self-esteem. So to know that I can just cast all of my fears and all that I am and all that I do and all of my deficiencies and all of my lacks and talents and skills and abilities in God, and to know that I was perfectly and wonderfully made in His image. It's incredible. It's incredible to know that, and to be able to live that testimony. I think it's a testimony that we make the choice to live every single day, knowing that we have talents, skills, abilities, that we have something to offer to somebody else, whether it's just a simple word or a teaching or a listening ear, something, regardless of our deficiencies or what we may conceive as our deficiencies. And so what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is, how do you measure your impact? How do you measure your impact versus your success? In a sense, right? But more so your impact. How do you measure your impact? So I've talked to you guys about 1,000 things of my story and my testimony. And when I tell you, even before just coming to New Season Worship Center, actually before coming to New Season Worship Center, before starting the voice lessons, like, my self-esteem was nowhere. It was nowhere. I didn't think I could do it. I was like, are you crazy? Like, what's happening? And I just didn't know where I belonged. I didn't know who I was truly. Or even if I did know who I wasn't really embracing. And that would be more of a true statement. I wasn't embracing who I am and what God has given me to do in this life. I wasn't embracing that. And because I chose, or perhaps didn't really know how to embrace that, it was a real struggle for me in measuring my impact, in measuring my success. So now I can tell you, okay, yes, I have a disability. I work with people with disabilities. I provide services and all of these things. And I say that with confidence. Like, that is what I do. That is what I love to do. And the whole world knows, right? So that, to me, is impact. It has nothing to do with me, and more of what I do for other people, and the impact that I make in their lives, right? But at the same time, that's doing something for me. That's creating impact in my soul, in my heart, and uplifting me. Where now it's like, okay, if I don't have that, if I feel like I don't have that opportunity, or I can't do that, it's like I can't breathe. That's how it feels like. Like, what do you mean I can't? Like, when COVID happened and I couldn't see any of my students, and I couldn't visit them, and I couldn't, go to a job interview or take them to work if they needed to, that was like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean I can't do that? So during that time was even harder. But just in general, the way that you measure your impact, right? So defining your life. The way you measure your impact, you're then defining your life. Again, when I thought I was nothing, I didn't have value, having a disability was a sin and didn't have impact. And what do you mean I can be, on radio? What do you mean I can be a speaker? Who's going to listen to me? That was literally my mindset. So by that being my mindset, I was defining my life as not valuable, as not important, as, why am I here? Why did God keep me here in this quote unquote condition if I can't make an impact? Right? And I'm hearing that now, and I'm like, wow, you really thought that? Like, yeah, I really thought that. And more, to be honest, like, more not so very nice thoughts that I just had in my mind, as far as why I felt like I My life didn't matter, and I did not make an impact, and I did not have a voice in this world. That is how I felt. But what I want to tell you guys is don't let what you can't change define you. Do not let what you cannot change define you. We all have power to change what we want to change in our life. Sometimes there's things that we cannot change. Unless God decides to heal me, I cannot change the fact that I have a disability. And I am perfectly okay with that. Like we hear, right? God, let your will be done. I want his will to be done for my life, not what I want. Because God knows that if it was, I can't even say that that's what I want, that healing is what I want, because from the bottom of my heart, it's not something. But in the event that he decided to heal me, or, if I was not born with a disability, I don't know where I would be. I get teased about it all the time. Like, Jesse, you would be trouble. Who knows? So there's a purpose for everything. There's a purpose and a reason why he kept me here and with this disability. So don't let what you can't change define you. The moment that we let it define us, then that's when our self-esteem becomes affected. So if I am an author, or if I love broadcasting, or whatever the case, maybe it's something that I wasn't born to do. But just because it's not something that I was not born to do, or a talent, or I wasn't gifted with, I'm not going to let that define me and be upset about it the rest of my life. It's time to switch it, to turn it around for good. Find what it is that you're good at. Discover within those things that you love to do, what are other things that I can do? What am I good at? What is my purpose? What are my skills, my talents, my abilities related to that? To that which, I want to do, where my heart is, and what is it that I can do to be better, to make an impact, to be successful. Right? So don't let what you can't change define you. Don't let what others don't understand about you define you or devalue you and what you do. Lord, is that a big one? I'm going to say it again. Do not let what others don't understand about you define you or devalue you and what you do. What they understand or don't understand is none of my business. None of my business. I get a lot of comments and things of people telling me, like, why do you do what you do? You're crazy. It doesn't have any value. This group of people don't have any value, and so on and so forth. And I used to really get upset about it, and so like emotional and angry, and I used to take it personal, because at the end of the day, you're talking to somebody that's living with a disability. That disability has no value, and that they're wasting your time. So what you're telling me is that I'm wasting my time living with a disability. That's pretty much what I'm hearing. It's pretty much what I'm hearing. So the moment I decided to tune out those comments, life got a lot better, because I now know what's valuable to me, what is important to me, and I will do that. I will do just that until my last breath, regardless of people's opinions. Again, my favorite quote, somebody's opinion of me is none of my business. It's not. It's truly not. So definitely don't let what others don't understand about you define you or devalue you and what you do. You can't please everybody, nor should we ever try to be a people pleaser. And I believe that as a person with a disability, unfortunately, in some way, maybe just automatically growing up, we're taught to be people pleasers. We're taught to say never, I can't, to never say I can't, rather to always stay positive, and all of these different things, where it gets to a point where we're not doing that for ourselves anymore. We're doing that for the other people, because we have to be strong, and we can't show weakness, and we can't cry. Yes, you can cry. Yes, you can show weakness where you're weak, but you got to keep it moving. You got to keep it moving, like I like to say, and where those areas where you're weak, you got to work at it every day to get strong and get up and get out there and go get it. I relate that when I was thinking about that earlier, I related that to my most recent surgery that I had never experienced in my life. And to me, that was the hardest thing that I went through. And my mom was like, no, that was definitely not the hardest thing that you went through in your life. You just don't remember. But it was hard for me because it was like learning to walk again. Scared of, am I going to be able to walk? Why can't I move my legs? But I had to push through and persevere and be like, no, I'm not using the wheelchair. I'm using the walker, and I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to walk again. So the power of the mind is everything, right? And you guys always hear me say that the power of the mind is everything. True impact will never be measured. Ever. True impact will never be measured. And I want to say that for people that are constantly thinking like, am I doing the right thing? Does what I do matter? Am I really making an impact? Am I ever going to hear a good job, a pat on the back, and I'm proud of you? Sometimes we have to give ourselves a pat on the back. Sometimes we have to tell ourselves that we are proud of ourselves. And true impact will never be measured. Maybe, hopefully, and I pray that I do, perhaps one thing that I say to somebody makes an impact for them, and I will never know. I will never find out because I don't know where in the world they are, and that's fine. That's fine. But I know that with consistency and time after time and what that sense of do not give up, keep going, don't quit, consistency. Just by doing that, we're making an impact. We're making an impact. And if you impact one person, if I impact one person, if you impact one person, we're doing our job, right? And not because she's listening and not because she's my sister from another mister, but Mina and I talk a lot and we have a lot of conversations. And I always make it a point to tell her, and not just her, anybody really that I honestly feel is making an impact. The world doesn't know what Mina does, and Mina does make an impact. And so when I know that for me, it's important for me, it feels good and it's impactful when I know one of my kids were impacted by what I said. So I know how it makes me feel. So I know that she makes an impact. She makes an impact in my life. Like, I'm like, Mina, what's happening? And we do a lot of things together. So she does make an impact. So many of you listening to me make an impact and don't even realize that you make an impact. Even to me, when I'm on the other side, reading your comments, like I love reading your comments because they make an impact. They make an impact on us as your host. They make an impact on New Season Gospel FM. They make an impact on New Season Worship Center as a church, as one. There is impact if we really open our eyes and pay attention. You can always make an impact, and everybody around you can make an impact, or has made an impact, or is making an impact. When we had the event recently, the Funclusion, the Future Floristic Funclusion event, I never imagined what an impact that event would make. Never in my life. And the impact that it made was incredible. And I pray that it continues to make that impact and double the impact. Because what we do matters. Again, even if nobody tells you a good job, a hey, a pat on the back, what you do matters. And the only way people are going to value what you do is if you put value behind it. The only way people are going to value what I do as a person with a disability, providing services for people with disability, is putting value behind what I do. Talk about it, be about it, put it out there, put a $ behind it. Disability ain't free. Disability work ain't free. It ain't charity work. And that's something that I have to work on. It's not charity, it's a job. It's time consuming, it's stressful. I've spent 2 days literally the past 2 days in government agencies helping clients. It's like, oh my gosh. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even have to do this for myself, and I do it for you guys because God is good. But I love to do it. And I know that the impact that it has in that individual that I'm helping, I know the impact that it has on them. So I will always do it no matter what, even if it's just for a plate of food. And unfortunately, sometimes it is just for a plate of food. Not just for a plate of food, but it is for a plate of food. And a good food too. So it's fine. Because then my next client that comes along, maybe it'll give me enough for that client and them. I don't know. But I will never turn down a client because I know the impact. I know the impact of providing a service to somebody in need. So I don't say no to clients. I don't say no to clients. I don't say no to M&Ms, and I don't say no to a microphone. And church. Don't say no to that. So it's important, guys. It's important that if you know somebody is making an impact, let them know that they're making an impact. Good job. Pat on the back. Do it again. Keep going. This is how you can make it better. And that just pushes us to keep going and to continue moving forward and making the impact that we have been left on this earth to do. Spiritually, I know spiritually I'm growing. I'm growing spiritually. I'm growing visually in the things that you can see. I'm growing in the things that I can't see. I'm growing in every sense. I'm growing in every sense. And when for me and my experience as of late, growing spiritually has allowed me to grow in other things, in other ways. Growing spiritually has definitely allowed me to see God's hand and God's divine intervention in ways I cannot even explain. But I sometimes totally speechless. Totally speechless. So with all of that and everything that we're mentioning and talking about comes the spiritual growth. And is that easy? No. Is community and people easy? No. Is Bible study easy? No. But it's worth it. If I'm going to continue to see the growth that I'm seeing, and if I'm going to continue to see God's hand on my life and on my business and on what I do and on my purpose, yes, it's worth it, and I will do it over and over again. Good evening, Asher. Thank you for joining. It's worth it. Just got to keep going because you never know who's looking. You never know who's looking, and you really don't even know who's supporting you along the way. It's sure not easy, but worth it. And it's never going to be easy, but it's always going to be worth it if your heart is in the right place, right? But we have to focus. We have to focus, and that is a note to self. That is a note to self. We have to focus because sometimes we focus on the wrong thing. We focus on, did so-and-so see what I did? They didn't tell me anything. Or did they see my post? Or, they didn't come to my event. So why? Why didn't they come? We focus on all these other things that we forget that the only thing that we have to focus on is God, what he has for our life and our purpose. Not everything else will come. Everything else will come. So we have to focus. Focus. And when those worldly distractions come along, Lord help us. That's when we have to pray to really God, help me focus. Because when those worldly distractions come along and human distractions, the anger, the anguish, the situations that we just can't avoid. I'm going through situations now that I'm like, okay, why? I've done everything I have to do, and just trying to reason everything in my head, but it's happening. So I can dwell on it and stay home and cry and, just stop living in a sense, or say, you know what? God has it. God is in control. He's going to work it out for good. I'm just going to keep going. Keep it moving. And sometimes that's literally what we have to do. Just keep it moving. It's you and God. Keep it moving. Someone is on watching now, and I'm glad you're watching. Asher, I always tell him, use your community. Use the people around you to push you, to keep you going, to provide resources, and to, kind of gear you back in the correct direction if you get lost a little bit. It's important to do that. Focus. Know the difference between the worldly distractions and things that come from God to redirect you or to teach you and to push you. Remember that impact is in what you do for others. Are they better after you leave them or after they spoke with you? Impact. How are you measuring your impact? When you talk to people, do you leave them better than you found them? Are they better after you leave them and speak to them? Do you listen to them? Do you provide a listening ear? That is so, so important. As we know, communication is a two-way thing, right? It's speaking and listening. And sometimes we speak more rather, and we don't listen very much. I mean, like, are you hearing me or do you understand what I'm saying? That's a big difference. Big difference. As a matter of fact, yesterday, this is a true story. Yesterday, I had been trying to contact one of my kids, one of my students. He's 20, 21. He's not a kid, but they're all my kids. And mom and I just went back and forth a couple days ago, and he's got to get some things done. He's growing up. He's an adult. He just graduated high school. Now he's in college. He has spina bifida like myself. Finally got in touch with him and spoke with him for a full hour. A little bit more. But he listened. I was lecturing him, but he listened. And we spoke and we talked and all these things. And now, little by little, we're getting things done. So my impact, the way that I measure my impact is, wow, he was listening. He took notes. He reiterated. He's following up. And now I'm helping him together to reach some goals that we have. Impact. And if that's what I was supposed to do yesterday is help him and get him to the next step, then I did my job. Impact. So how are you measuring your impact? How are you measuring your impact and your success is the question. So I hope this helps you to kind of open that horizon of your intellect and just really asking yourself that question: how am I making an impact? How am I measuring my impact, rather? How am I measuring my success? And remember that the way that you measure your success also has to do with what you do to get to that success. Did you do everything that you can do or everything that you should have done? Did you prepare accordingly to get to where you wanted to get, to make the impact that you wanted to be ready to make? Did you do all of that? Did you practice? Did you prepare? Did you go to these classes? Did you know what I mean? Did you do all that stuff? I want to have this big business and I want to do this whole like superwoman thing for people with disabilities. Did I prepare? I can tell you that I have prepared a lot, but I still have a long way to go. Or I still have more things to prepare for. Definitely have more things to prepare for. So preparation is key. When you want to make an impact, preparation is key. It's not going to happen from the comfort of your own home. It's not going to happen from any comfort, to be honest with you. It's not going to happen from any comfort. So you have to be uncomfortable. Make yourself uncomfortable. Allow and encourage those around you to make you uncomfortable, to push you into the direction that you are supposed to go, to get ready for the impact God has for you to make in the lives of other people. So important, guys. So important to know, how do you measure your impact? How do you measure your impact? Are there different ways of measuring the impact? Absolutely. Numbers, how many people showed up, or how many letters that I received, whatever the case. But know how it is that you are measuring your impact. And know that everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. I am going to close us off today with one of my favorite songs in the whole wide world, Be All Right, because it is going to be all right.
There's a name that can silence every fear. There's a love that embraces the heartache, the pain, and the tears. Through my faith and my doubting, I know one thing for sure. His word is unfailing, His promise secure. Todo va a estar bien, everything will be alright. Whole world's in His hands, your whole world's in His hands. In the darkness, in the trials, He's faithful and He is true. The whole world's in His hands, y todo va a estar bien. Oh, 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 everything will be alright. Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah. Father, you say everything's gonna be alright, but my circumstances say I won't last through the night. I need your word to hold me now, need you to pull me through. I need a miracle, a breakthrough, I need you. They say you hold the whole universe in your hand, but my world's falling apart like it is made of sand. Am I small enough to slip through the cracks? Can you take my broken pieces and put them back? Give me faith to believe you're on my side. Open my eyes to see you working in my life. Let the past remind me you never fail, and tell my soul it is well. Oh, y todo va a estar bien, everything will be alright. The whole world's in His hands, your whole world's in His hands. In the darkness, in the trials, He's faithful and He's true. Your whole world's in His hands, y todo va a estar bien. Everything, oh, oh, everything will be alright. Oh, 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 hey. Todo va a estar bien. Oh, 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 and I know everything will be alright. Oh, 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 yeah.
Padre, te confieso a corazón abierto que todo es muy incierto en este desierto. Mi vulnerabilidad está al descubierto. Siento que mi barca está muy lejos de su puerto. ¿Por qué será que ya no sale el sol en mis días? ¿Por qué mis noches son tan frías? ¿Por qué será que siento que me falta algo? ¿Por qué este camino gris se siente tan largo? Sé que estás sobrando aunque no te sienta. Sé que estás sobrando aunque no te vea. Sé que voy a salir de esta odisea. Sé que voy a ganar esta pelea. Sé que va a cesar esta marea temporaria, que en ti yo viviré una vida extraordinaria. Y aunque no pueda entender, me consuela saber que
todo, yo sé que todo va a estar bien.
Todo va a estar bien.
Everything will be alright.
The whole world's in His hands, your whole world's in His hands. In the darkness, in the trials, He's faithful and He's true. Your whole world's in His hands, y todo va a estar bien. Oh, 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 everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Yeah, yeah. Todo va a estar bien. Oh, oh, oh,
Everything will be alright.
He's got the whole world in His hands. He's got the whole world in His hands. He's got the whole wide world in His hands.
Todo el mundo en su mano está. Todo el mundo en su mano está. Todo el mundo en su mano está.
Y todo va a estar bien. Todo va a estar bien. Everything will be all right. I love that song. So guys, thank you so much once again for joining me tonight on another episode of Yes with Yesse, where we talked about how do you measure your impact. Please continue to be yourselves no matter what. And trust me, you make an impact in a life every single day. Just keep doing what you do. Be you, be genuine, be nice. Be nice. That's all we got to do. Good evening, Reverend Crescent. Thank you for joining. And speaking of be nice, join us again tomorrow morning for Fun Friday, with Pastor Steve alongside Pastor Henry. And of course, before that, join us at 6:30 a.m. for In His Presence. And then a few hours later, we have our midday prayer with Sister Yesse. So you don't want to miss that. Tomorrow is a packed Friday indeed. Have a blessed evening, everyone. Blessed evening and an awesome weekend. And I will see you back here I'll see you back on Sunday at church. So make sure you join us on Sunday at 11 o'clock at New Season Worship Center, 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill 33319. See you guys then, 11 o'clock. Don't miss it.